Hello, I am Helena Signori, author illustrator of this book on the real presence for children. And this is my YouTube channel where I use my 22 years of being a second grade Catholic school catechist and also my lay catechist experience to try to give you some quick lesson plan ideas. I know that being a catechist, especially if you are a homeschooler or a lay catechist, can be very challenging because you're a busy person and maybe not necessarily trained as a teacher, and you need some quick lesson plan ideas. So today, the idea I picked up in a teaching class, and it wasn't specifically a religion idea, but it is very adaptable to many age levels. And so let me show it to you. All you need is a piece of paper and a marker, and then a copy machine to make enough copies for however many children you are going to be doing this activity with. And then, of course, they will need some crayons or markers to add to it, because this activity is called What Could This Be? You take a piece of paper and put what could this be on every side of it before you copy it. And you also are going to put a random picture in the middle of it, not a fancy picture, just shapes. For instance, when I did this in my teaching class, they put 2 circles on it. So it would look something like this, and then you would photocopy it and hand it out to everybody. So then the people who get this activity, they have to try to turn the paper around and say, okay, what could this be? Maybe they would draw a traffic light. A lot of kids would draw, a car or something, because 2 circles is pretty obvious. Maybe owl eyes, maybe a face, right? So I would maybe stay away from 2 circles. When I did this in my college level teaching class, I wanted to be different. So I turned this into 2 pies on a picnic table, and there were a lot of other details in the picture. So this would be kind of almost too easy, but you could do a squiggly line. And again, everybody who gets this piece of paper is going to interpret that as a starting point, and they're going to build a picture off of it by turning the paper any way they want. You could do geometric shapes, like a line and a circle and a triangle, and then again they have to look at it and try to imagine, almost like when you look at clouds and you see something in the clouds. Again, they could do the shape in this direction, they could do the drawing in this direction. They just turn the paper around till they see something, and then they build off of that. So they're going to draw more lines, they're going to add details to the picture. And what is so cool about this activity from a God point of view is that then I would have my students come up and present their pictures, and we would see the variety coming from the same starting point. And what I liked about that is, even let's say I had 2 students or 3 or 4 students, if I did something this simple, draw a car. Even if they saw a car, they're not going to draw the car exactly the same way. If they saw an owl or a clown face, and maybe somebody else had the same idea, they're not going to draw it exactly the same way. They're going to use different colors. And but that what is really exciting is to see people see 2 pies, or an owl, or a car, or a clown, and the variety of things that could come out of just that simple shape. Then as we would come up and present what we saw in our picture, I would remind the students that we all think and see things differently. We learn differently, but we are made in the image and likeness of God. And so we have minds that no other creature has, and we have the ability to choose and think that no other creature on earth has. So we are able to explore our God-given talents And we can see the differences in each other's even thinking by looking at the same shape and interpreting it a different way. So during the school year, I would then have these pictures up on the walls and remind the kids, remember, we don't always think the same way. We don't always see things the same way, but we're all made in the image and likeness of God. And so we need to appreciate how we each individually think about things and look at things. I also would remind kids this is not a talent show contest with who's the most artistic kid in the classroom, but I would compliment kids if they included more details, because we want to enrich our lives by sharing things that God has given us. And if they include more details, then that helps us to see the picture even better. And we want to continue to grow in our faith so that we can share more of our faith. So there's lots of ways you can build off of this simple activity. You could do it on a retreat as a warm-up activity. You could do it in homeschooling with multi-age kids in your family. And it would be kind of interesting to see how the kindergartner in the family versus the fifth grader in the family would each take the same basic shape and develop a picture off of it. And even to say to the kindergartner, see, as you get older, they drew a car too, but theirs has more details. And the more we grow, the more we know how to know, love, and serve God with the gifts that He gives us as we continue to learn about ourselves and about Him. So I hope that this What Could This Be activity is something you can incorporate. Even maybe if you're a lay catechist and you have kids coming in at different times, you could have this activity on a table. They could get started on it while other kids are arriving. Maybe give them a couple of weeks to work on it, put their name on the back, collect it back, and then they can finish it up over a couple of weeks and then use it as a sharing to see how each kid can appreciate their interests and their differences, and that we all think differently, but we are made in the image and likeness of God. So I hope you enjoy that.